Hi, I'm Allie McDonough from Boston University. I'm a senior majoring in public relations, and today I'm going to teach you how to make vegetarian chili in a crock pot. So I don't actually own a crock pot. I'm going to make my chili on the stove in one of these big pots. But if you're going to do it in a crock pot in your dorm room, you can do the exact same things. Start off by sauteing everything together and then move it over to a crock pot and just let it sit for a couple of hours. So to start, I've already sauteed a whole bunch of onions and garlic. I used 1 red onion, 1 white onion, and about 5 cloves of garlic. I sauteed those for about 10 minutes, and then I threw in some butternut squash, about 20 ounces from Trader Joe's. This is a really great fall or winter recipe. It keeps you really warm, plus it's vegetarian, so you can feed it to almost all of your friends. I got this recipe from my friend Marielle this summer, and it was delicious, and I just had to try it. So, once these are all sauteed together, I'm going to add in a bunch of spices. I'm going to use about 2 teaspoons of curry powder, and then I'm going to add in about 2 or 3 teaspoons of chili powder. So, after all of the spices and the butternut squash and the onions have been cooking for about 3 or 4 minutes, I'm going to add in the rest of the vegetables. I'm going to start by adding the beans. This is just 3 cans of beans that I've drained all of the water out of. Add those into the pot. And then I'm going to add an entire can of tomatoes. This is just diced tomatoes with all of the juices because you want all that extra liquid in here. And finally, I'm going to add a quart of vegetable broth. Now, if you're not vegetarian, you can use chicken broth or you can use really any sort of broth that you'd like, but I'm going to use vegetable broth so I can feed this to my vegetarian friends. Give the whole thing one big stir. And I'm going to let that all come to a simmer for about 15 minutes until everything is really tender. While this is simmering, I'm going to add a little bit of honey, probably about ½ a cup, just to make it a little bit extra sweet and add some flavor. So, about ½ a cup, a little more. Okay, and then the last step in this chili is to add a bunch of kale or Swiss chard. Now, I couldn't actually find either of them at the store. I went to Trader Joe's and they didn't have either, so I'm substituting in spinach. So we'll see how this goes. This is just an entire frozen pack of spinach. I've thawed it out, and then I drained all the water from it so that the chili doesn't get too liquidy. I'm going to let this all cook for about 4 or 5 minutes, and then turn it off, and then the chili will be done. Alright, so the chili's all done. Now the nice thing about this recipe is that you make a lot of food at once, and you can freeze this or you can keep it in your refrigerator. And the longer that it sits, the more the flavors come together and the better the chili gets. So, thank you very much for joining me. I'm Allie McDonough, and I will see you next time.